Hey, g'day guys, Kristen Harper, Humanising Digital Transformation, series of conversations with tech leaders. In this session, we're having another conversation with my mate Damien Rose around customer success. I keep pointing this one out because customer success has the biggest impact on the success of any digital transformation project. So Damien and I have already had a couple of conversations around the importance of it, what happens with some organizations that aren't being managed that well. And today we're actually going to talk through UpSol's customer success program and actually what the schedule looks like and how it sort of works. So Damien, mate, talk me through a day. What did we say before? A day in the life.
A day in the life. Well, I get up in the morning.
This is when you know you need to get out more.
Yes.
And when it's a day in the life of post-COVID, it's or mid-COVID, it's like I'm going to the lounge, going out in the garden, coming back in the house.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, mate.
Anyway, look, I guess where we should probably start is where the customer success program starts in regards to a customer. So let's assume a new customer, right?
Yeah.
Because my cycle is fairly standard once the customer has been onboarded. So new customer comes into the organization. They could already be undergoing a digital transformation journey. Not necessarily with business process automation. It could be with a telephony system or whatever the case might be. Or a Office 365 uplift or something like that. It could be completely different.
Yeah, and just for clarification, when we talk about digital transformation, there's so many different areas that can be digital transformation. So one area is obviously what we do, which is process and workflow automation. Then digital transformation could be getting, you're right, a new phone system, and it could be getting a fully new platform into the organization. So there's a number of, and this is what we're doing.
Different facets to it.
Yeah, different facets to it.
So in our organisation, as you know, we also have the Project Success Program. So the Project Success Program Sorry. I won't dive into it. I need to say this because it's in my head and it's got to come out. Project Success Program goes from obviously post-sale through to fulfillment of the project. So end of user acceptance testing, solution acceptance, and then we have the optimization phase, and that's when I get introduced, right? Depending on the customer and the size, the depth, the relationships, I may get introduced earlier to start forming the relationship so that it's not a hard cut over. Once that happens, once the customer success program is, let's say, turned on, it's very much a case of, like I mentioned the last time we chatted, this structured, scheduled, timed event series with the jam in the middle. So what that looks like, so let's say I have to, and the beauty of, here we go, product placement, the beauty of FileBound is that it controls the schedule, it controls the workflow. So, and it provides transparency, whether it's FileBound or not. It's having that system in place. So I will get assignments sent to me by the system to say customer A is due for a review in 60 days. I start to make appointments. I'll have already been engaging, but it'll be, hey, Bob, we're due for our next customer success review. In this time frame at the moment, I can't come on site. We'll be doing it remotely through Teams or Zoom or whatever the case might be. The interview, the meeting's still the same. The schedule's the same. It's a little bit cut down because it's remote. When I'm able to go on site, I have the full blessing of our CEO to be on site for a day, 2 if needed, if that's what the customer needs to make sure that they're getting the best out of what we've got. So then I prepare a document, which is my meeting agenda, which is very structured. So we'll talk about licensing, we'll talk about managed service, we'll talk about outstanding tickets, we'll talk about license consumption, we'll talk about system performance, KPIs, solution goals. We actually start with solution goals. We end with all the licensing stuff towards the end. We talk about future change controls, any other projects they want to do. So we even go into the potential for case studies or referrals if they know anyone that, because the conversation lends to that at the end, because we've talked through it.
And I guess one thing probably to point out here is that essentially this is account management on steroids, and you're not going to get a lot of, I guess, account managers that will go that deep, because even with me, there's a certain amount of expertise that I have, but then I'll bring in the team around me that has more expertise than I do. And I think when you get a lot of account managers, they'll be only so deep that they can go in that conversation, and especially when you're starting to talk about the more technical parts, I think this is probably where some get unstuck.
For sure. I mean, I'll be on site, and if my radar, my spidey senses go off that someone's having a little bit of trouble, I'll go do training. You know, I'll finish the formal part of the meeting, and then I'll go do training. Or I'll let them know in advance. You tell me, look, I've noticed in these tickets there's a bit of a trend around process X. Would you like me to spend an hour and train some of your staff on how to do this better? That's the purpose of it, right? And I think the big difference between, in my experience anyway, between a customer success program and an account management program is what happens when I leave, right? So it's one thing to be on site and to be warm and fuzzy and to be making people feel good and to give them love. That's very important, social creatures, yeah? But it's when you leave when the rubber hits the road. So once I go, I compile all of the data that I've collected into the report, which obviously my agenda is the framework for that. And that immediately, once I'm happy with it, that goes to our leadership team, the exec team, who all then know that I've done the review because they all knew it was there, that it needed to be done. So they all know that I've done it and they can see the results of it. And then at the end of it is a big table that's all, you know, red, amber, green of tasks that come out of the review. Some of which I'll knock on the head while I'm there, some of which I'll knock on the head between when I'm there, or our team will, the services team, between when I'm there and when I finish the report. So they'll obviously be green lighted. Some are in progress, some haven't been started. And once again, it's transparency on that. And then I own that with the services team to, well, it could be sales as well, because you know, they might want to upgrade the license or whatever to complete a new part of the transformation. And so that's probably the big difference then.
And I'm visual, and I like that red, green, and, you know, yellow, because you sort of know where that priority is, and then straight away.
Yes, and I think, to answer your question, I think that's the biggest differentiator. Is an account manager, from my past experience in organisations I've worked in, they're lovely people. They do like the people that they serve. They care about them, but generally speaking, they're fairly sales driven. My role technically does fall under sales in our organisation, but obviously I've also been technical, I've also been operational, and I'm very human focused, but I understand the tech side of it and the requirement for that. So when I come back from it, they're my problems. What's on that sheet of paper, I'm the one that's got to sit in front of the customer in 4 months' time, and that table goes at the start of the next agenda, and we go through that task list. And if anything's still red without a really good reason, I'm the one with egg on my face.
Cool, and I like that.
That's the big difference, I think. That's the big difference.
I like it. You can go in with the big shoulders and take everything, and then we can just come in and just do all the nice stuff. Mate, hey, cheers for your time. Hey, I just want to finish off on this one, and is that I think the customer success program is potentially industry leading, because again, I don't see a lot of organizations doing anything like this. So I think the investment that we'll put into this is really key. So, hey mate.
Look, I know it is. I know it is because of what I've seen over the last few years. And I'm not just talking fiscal return, I'm talking customers actually getting more out of what they've invested in. You know,
because it goes from a customer being a customer for 3 or 4 or 5 years to 10 plus years, because, you know, you're not giving them any reason to want to leave, in your condition, and you're continually adding value, then it's, you know, I'm not saying it's not hard, but it's, you know, just got to look after them.
I think it's a foresight thing. You know, so there's our CEO, like I think I mentioned it in the last one where we chatted about the genesis of our customer success program. It's his foresight to put it in place. He didn't have to, but he could see the benefits. And I think that's what makes us different. And the natural progression to that, which I mentioned early on in today's piece, is the project success program. So they really dovetail. Massive point of difference.
Cool. Awesome.
People all do projects, but having a structured way to do it right, and then a structured way to love customers and help them. Not many people do
structured. It's basically a structured way to continually create value, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Cool. Hey, appreciate your time, buddy. I'll speak to you again soon.
No worries, mate.
Cheers,
See ya.
mate.